I'll remember the weather and how we got over it.
For one man's meltdown and another man's triumph.
A massive heartbreak for one of the game's greatest players.
A defining moment of my career.
A great experience. I had an absolute blast.
I'll just think about a great test of golf, the renaissance of Ernie Els, really.
I will never ever forget that feeling when that putt went in.
Golf's never over till it's over.
The Linksland of northwest England, venue for the 141st Open Championship. Once again, Royal Lytham and St Anne's Golf Club welcomed the game's oldest major. And Darren Clarke, such an emotional winner at Royal St George's, began his week by handing back the Claret Jug.
I've had a wonderful year as Open Champion. I've enjoyed being Open Champion. You know, I've been very pleased and privileged to take Claret Jug in a lot of places around the world where it's never been before. The little box that you get with it, the secure box, has got more stickers on it than it's probably ever had. So it's done a lot of air miles this year.
Thank you for looking after the trophy.
There's a few little marks in it and stuff.
Well, we'll soon put those right.
I'm sure.
He's represented the RNA and the Open Championship extrememely well. I mean, he's travelled with the Claret Jug and shown us around the world everywhere he's gone. I suspect it's been in a few bars and he's probably slept with it at his bedside and so on. I don't know that we've ever had a champion quite as, can I use the word, chuffed as Darren was to be Open Champion. And of course, the crowds at Royal St George's just lapped it up, and he was the people's champion, really.
On home turf, a strong English challenge was expected. Lee Westwood and Luke Donald were heavily fancied to break through after a spell in major championships where no one player had dominated.
No one's really come through and started to win consistently. It just speaks to how difficult it is to win majors.
Tiger Woods had captured 14 major titles, but none since the 2008 US Open.
Do you ever feel a sense of anxiety over when or if the next one is coming?
No. I just try to put myself there. And I think that if I continue putting myself there, enough times, then I'll win major championships.
At 6:30 on Thursday morning, Barry Lane, a 52-year-old qualifier, had the honour of hitting the championship's first shot.
It was just a really, really nice atmosphere. The weather was a little bit chilly, a bit drizzly, first thing, a little bit of wind. I got a few butterflies, but I just focused on trying to hit a good shot. And I managed to hit a pretty good tee shot onto the green. It was a great honour. I just wanted to thank him. It's obviously the only open course where you start with a par 3, but it's not, you can just bunk it down there somewhere short of the bunkers and play the whole conservative. You've just got to hit a very, very good shot.
3 hours and 12 minutes later, Woods did precisely that. It led to an immediate birdie, and he was 4 under after 7. That was as good as it got, though. Despite a short game masterclass, Tiger had to be content with a 67. Paul Lawrie, the 1999 Open champion at Carnoustie, chipped in twice during a run of 3 consecutive birdies. He signed for a 65. Westwood could not have wished for a better start. He birdied the first 2 holes, but played the back 9 poorly for a 73. Game 15 contained 3 major champions, and 2 of them lived up to their reputations. Ernie Els finished the day with a 67. Darren Clarke's poor form continued. He shot 76, but nothing could dilute the warm applause from those in the grandstands on the 18th. Pick of the bunch was American Zach Johnson, who managed 7 birdies and a 65. On this day, though, Adam Scott was inspired, moving 5 under through 14.
The best swing from my memory was the second shot into 15. It just felt like that perfect swing you put on the range that's so hard to take to the course. It was a lovely shot and rolled the putt in to keep everything going in the right direction.
Scott's 3 was followed by this approach to the 16th, which led to another birdie. Scott was 7 under par and flirting with history.
Quick second there, I did the math, and I'm fully aware that 62 hadn't been shot in a major, and thought about it for a second, which is something you don't want to think about any longer than that. Unfortunately, I just stumbled on the last.
Scott equaled the course record with a 64.
I'd never shot that low a score in a major before. I'm thrilled. That's a perfect start to the tournament.
Having missed the cut on his 3 previous trips to the Open, American Brandt Snedeker solved the mystery of links golf with an opening 66. On course for the same score was 23-year-old Rory McIlroy. But on the 15th, McIlroy's drive flared right, struck a spectator on the head, and flew out of bounds.
He was getting into trouble, he was getting out of trouble, getting into trouble, getting out of trouble. And I think that's what we really love about him. He grounded out in the end and then came in with a 67, which was fabulous. He got himself into position.
McIlroy would birdie 2 of the closing 3 holes. In contrast, well number 1 Luke Donald bogeyed the 18th for a level par round of 70. Joining Laurie and Johnson in a tie for second was Belgium's Nicholas Colsaerts. On the 17th, not even a fairway bunker derailed him.
It's always great when you hit a shot like that and you come out racing out the bunker and you know it's come out good. It was just come out exactly where I wanted to be.
65 at the Open is more than good, but not enough to prevent Adam Scott being the outright first-round leader, following a day of excellent scoring. Heavy overnight rain saturated the course for day 2. There were genuine concerns play would be delayed, but the tireless work of the green staff ensured no disruption. Wind remained absent, but Royal Lytham is formidable whatever the weather. Nicholas Colsaerts, one of the first leaders in action, bogeyed 2 of the opening 3 holes, but worse was to come.
Well, on the 7th, I basically did, everything you need to avoid at Lytham. Hit a drive down the putt bunker, hacked it out, maybe 10 yards. Then I was right in between, playing just short of the green or going for it. Went for it, missed that one, went right, missed the next one. Ended up in tall rough. It was just basically nowhere to be seen. Left it in the rough, hit it over the green, got it up and down for 8. Funny enough, I got a smile on my face because I know I've just done everything wrong. It's not like I just missed, half a shot. I missed everything.
In a different sense, Rory McIlroy also missed everything and everyone on a day of wild inconsistency. Early on, the bad was often followed by the good. But his hopes began to unravel on the 9th.
There's an element there of the very young player who still has a bit to learn, which suggested that, you know, he still has to learn a bit of patience when it comes to Open Championships, probably, and major championships in general. Within a year, he'll probably have Grand Slam, you know, because he's that good. Who knows?
But Friday morning's big story was Brandt Snedeker, already 1 under for the round as he arrived on the 6th green.
You know, it's one of those putts that you're just trying to get close. You know, it's up over a ridge, going downhill. If I go within 3 feet, I was happy. And I hit one of those putts, and when you're putting good, you know, those long ones always seem to kind of find their way on the right line. And then about 5 feet from the hole, I think I started walking. To make that one, really got the momentum going. Well, okay, today's going to be a good day. Able to get a good birdie on 9. I hit a 9-iron in there about 4 feet on 9, made birdie there. 11, you know, hit a nice wedge in there, about a 20-footer. Made that one. And at this time, I thought every putt was going in.
Snedeker was round in 64 and reached the halfway mark of the championship 10 under, playing with intelligence, not tempted to attack the flags.
That was my game plan, just put it in the middle of the greens, you know, because bunkers are waiting there for a reason, and they're penalties, so try to shoot away from them, and I did that. You know, I think I hit 31 of the first 36 greens or something like that. To have that kind of run where you feel like you can do no wrong is a lot of fun.
Out in the afternoon, Adam Scott's front 9 was uneventful, but his round was kick-started on the 10th. Scott also birdied the 11th and the 18th in a back 9 of 33. His golf far more accurate than his definition of spectacular.
To fight back and shoot 67 without doing anything spectacular showed that my game was in good shape, and I kept myself right in touch with the leader, which was important.
Scott spent his first 36 holes in the company of Northern Ireland's Alan Dunbar, the reigning amateur champion. Dunbar shot 71 in the second round, but missed the cut. And with it, the opportunity to win the silver medal. The experience, however, was invaluable.
We only had 2 amateurs this year. They both got good draws, and I hope they enjoyed the experience. And I know Alan did, because I went to see him as soon as he finished his 36 holes, and he loved the experience. And he's a wonderful golfer, and I think played with great credit, actually. Well, I said I really hope you've enjoyed it, and I know we'll be seeing more of you in the future. We look forward to it.
Adding youth to the leaderboard was a 22-year-old Dane. Torbjorn Olesen won his first event on the European Tour 3 months earlier, and his confidence shone through on the way to a 66.
Get up. Get up.
Olesen entertained, as, of course, did Tiger. He came to the 18th, 5 under, very much in the hunt. His every move, the centre of attention.
Wind's off the left.
He's still the biggest draw. He's compelling for other reasons. There's still no one more fun to watch. It's that simple. Other players might post better scores. They're winning tournaments, but he's capable of doing things that others aren't. And just those little special end-of-the-day moments, that's why they can't take their eyes off him.
It's a fantastic thing to see when Tiger pulls off a shot like that, and particularly at that moment, at that place.
That's Tiger. I mean, you just expect that from Tiger. We haven't for a couple years. We're starting to see more of it. But usually when you see things like that, you're thinking, boy, it's his week, isn't it?
Tiger is one of a very small select bunch that produces that kind of moment that you take away as a memory.
Another is the great Tom Watson, who needed to birdie the 18th to make the cut at the age of 62.
He thought that he'd missed out, but he still gave one of those moments.
He always produces something at the Open. Great favourite with the crowds.
The 5-time Open champion was through to the weekend.
You know, Tom's a guy that I grew up idolizing and loved the way he swung the golf club, the way he played golf, the way he handled himself on the golf course, and the way he won and lost. He's a wealth of knowledge. And he's the first thing he says is, you've got to get over here and you've got to have a great time. If you're not going to have a great time when you come over here, you're not going to have any success whatsoever.
Watson's wisdom didn't fall on deaf ears. Snedeker's 130 strokes equaled the lowest 36-hole total in the history of the championship.
This year I did my best job with doing that and trying to heed his advice and enjoy it, embrace it. Going to local pubs and seeing the people and having a few pints at night and eating the local food and having a great time, you know, really embracing what the British Open really means. Pretty neat moment to see your name on the top of that leaderboard.
But Snedeker led by only one from Scott. Tiger was in third, just ahead of McDowell, with Els 7 behind the leader. Day 3 was blessed with sunshine. Conditions were ideal. And a young Dane was about to fulfill a long-held ambition. Torbjorn Olesen had earned the dream draw. A round with his childhood hero.
I always wanted to play with Tiger. It's been a dream for me since I was, I think, 10 years old or something. I think that was the first time I saw him. To get the opportunity to actually play with him is fantastic. I don't think I've ever been that nervous on the first tee. It was just like when you were warming up, and it was difficult. All the movement, you could just feel it in the ground almost. It's good when you're nervous, I think.
Salvaging par on the opening hole was a good way for Olesen to settle down.
I just tried to really focus on my own game. Hit a great putt there on the first, and that really helped me.
Tiger was also scrambling for par. He bogeyed the third as well, and Olesen had overtaken his idol. Adam Scott could have stumbled early in the round, but his putter came to the rescue.
Saves are always crucial in a big tournament. They keep the momentum going if you're going in the right direction. And certainly making a couple putts early is important. That was a great start to that round.
The galleries massed around the Tiger-Olesen match, and on the 6th, the world number 2 clicked into gear. He also birdied the 7th, where he witnessed the extraordinary escape from the battling Olesen. A crucial birdie maintained his presence on the leaderboard at 3 under. 2 holes later, though, Woods put daylight between them. When he birdied the 9th, Tiger stood 7 under. After 40 holes without a blemish, Brant Snedeker made his first bogey of the championship on the short 5th. Having steered clear of all 206 bunkers at Royal Lytham on Thursday and Friday, he finally succumbed on the 6th and dropped another shot at the 8th.
As great as the first 40 holes were, or whatever it was, you're going to have a stretch of 9 holes where you just don't play good. I don't care what anybody says. And I was fully expecting that and prepared for it. I was not under any illusion that I was going to play 72 holes of perfect golf around there, because it just ain't going to happen.
Playing partner Scott took charge of the championship. He parred the first 6 holes, then birdied the 7th and 8th. And when Snedeker bogeyed the 9th, the Australian's lead swelled to 4. Zach Johnson fought back into contention with a 66, the lowest score of the day. Having found sand, Scott had an up and down on the 10th to salvage a par.
The save on 10 was huge in the scheme of things. I hit a pretty poor wedge shot in there, left myself not an easy putt from above the hole. Just dropped in the front, and that was a big boost. It was a confidence builder, that par save.
While the game plan of many was to keep their driver in the bag, Scott used it often and well.
I'm a good driver of the golf ball. I believe that's one of my strengths of my game, and I felt Lytham was a perfect opportunity to use that. I didn't think it was an aggressive play or a risk. You know, I think the strategy was good for me. I was playing to my strengths.
So was Ernie Els. A round of 68 left him 6 adrift of Scott.
Playing really well from tee to green, and I did that in my previous 2 opens at Lytham. You know, I felt I was really solid from tee to green. I was hitting good putts, but they weren't quite dropping. The thing that I've been working on has been to be a bit more patient, like I used to be when I was in my 20s. So we were just waiting for some putts to fall.
Halfway through his 3rd round, Graham McDowell was stuck on 4 under and in danger of becoming detached.
I remember that back 9 on Saturday. I really did feel like I clicked into a different level. You know, I was able to make a little bit of a late charge to be the guy that maybe had a chance to look at him in the eye on Sunday afternoon. The putter was just in the groove, and at that point I thought, here we go.
3 birdies in 5 holes resurrected McDowell's championship.
I really was just controlling the golf ball the way I wanted to be controlling it. I couldn't have played those last 6 or 7 holes any better. I guess the Donalds and the Westwoods and the Rory McIlroys and the real homegrown stars were just kind of not firing. And I seemed to be the guy that was kind of putting myself on the leaderboard, and they got right behind me. I felt great coming off the course, got myself into the last group with Adam on Sunday, and I felt ready to go.
Over the course of the back 9, Tiger lost his momentum. But a 70 kept him in the picture at 6 under.
He is a fantastic player, and I was still amazed how the shots he hit and the way he played. I had a chance to shoot a better score than him, but he still beat me by 1, I think.
Snedeker signed for a 73, but his smile remained, and what happened on the 18th green ensured the feel-good factor carried into Sunday.
I've watched that putt on 18 a couple times and seen how much guys were under-reading it, and it was breaking off the charts to the right. And so I made myself play a couple extra inches of break, and I thought I hit it way too high. It was a good way to end the day, you know, a day where I hadn't made any putts and really struggled from tee to green, and I needed one. It was a long day, you know, it was one of those days where anything at that point was welcome.
Scott didn't match Snedeker's birdie, but a round of 68 meant a commanding 4-shot lead. With the most important round of his life ahead, Scott was on the cusp of joining Peter Thompson, Greg Norman, Kel Nagle and Ian Baker-Finch as an Australian winner of the Open. On 11 under, he led by 4, but with the menacing presence of Woods and Els in striking distance, Scott wouldn't sleep easy. The final day of the 2012 Open saw benign conditions replaced by the first stiff breeze of the championship. Adam Scott, though, was calm.
Waking up at 8 o'clock and having to wait till 2 to play, I think I used all my nerves before I'd even gotten to the golf course.
Much excitement surrounded the arrival of the contenders. But under the radar slipped a three-time major champion, quietly determined to end 10 years in the wilderness.
You played great yesterday, Ernie. How excited are you now about this?
He's such a great player when the conditions get hard. He knew the wind was going to blow on Sunday, and I think that was what he wanted, you know, especially as far back as we were, to give us a chance.
For the chasers in need of encouragement, a door opened on the first. Scott dropped a shot, and his playing partner McDowell sensed an opportunity.
All of a sudden I'm thinking, you know, I've got this putt just to start turning the screw a little bit here. And it was nice, you know, making that putt and walking off to the second tee box thinking, great, you know, this is exactly what I wanted. This is the start I needed.
But Scott's response could not have been more emphatic. The Australian set up a birdie on the second, and despite dropping another shot on the third, didn't lose composure.
The bogeys early didn't rattle me too much. Again, I was hitting good shots. They just didn't quite pan out for me. And no one had come charging out of the blocks either, so there was no need to panic yet.
As always, Tiger was creative. Playing alongside him in the penultimate group, Snedeker stayed 7 under with a battling 3 at the 5th. The man from Tennessee was refusing to buckle. Ernie Els bogeyed the second, and 4 holes later was staring at the prospect of another, until saved by his short game touch. Off at 9:25, Nicholas Colsaerts was an early starter. His golf would be outstanding.
Everything just felt, you know, very smooth, and I was thinking very clearly on every shot.
The Belgian had sprung from the pack with a 65 to establish the clubhouse lead at 1 under.
I got into the recording, and there was this guy in there who never smiled all week. And I've handed him my scorecard, checks the numbers, looks at me, and goes. So I'm thinking, it was the first sign of what a pretty good round of golf. I got my first top 10 in the major.
While scoring was growing increasingly difficult, Colsaerts had set the benchmark. Scott led by 3. Snedeker was holding firm, and Woods lurked with intent. On the 6th, Tiger had found the fairway.
I'll stay straight.
Lucky. Lucky.
1 yard.
Yeah.
He had a great second shot in there, and the wind kind of took it just a little bit late. And he's in one of those bunkers, and it's just a complete crapshoot, you know, those bunkers. You know, we walked around every bunker at the beginning of the week and said, as long as you're in the middle of that bunker, you're okay. Well, unfortunately, you're never in the middle of the bunkers. You're always up against the lips. You know, he fought hard to get that ball out, and he did great to get it out in 2. And then he kind of compounded his mistakes by 3-putt. You know, if he just makes double there, not triple, kind of, you lose a shot, you lose a couple of shots, that's gonna happen, but triple's a killer. It's just tough to get that kind of break on Sunday.
Woods plunged from 6 to 3 under. His title aspirations dealt a crippling blow. It was a fate about to be shared by Snedeker on the 7th.
couldn't believe what had just happened. It's one of those swings that you make and you just scratch your head and go, what was that? Never seen that before. I can't remember the last time I did that. It's about as easy as it gets. What are you doing, you know? And creeped up at the wrong time on Sunday. And that's just what happens at majors, you know. They examine every part of your game.
As Snedeker ran up a 7, Woods displayed the mental steel for which he's renowned. Tiger's ambitions were still just about alive, but Snedeker's died when another crooked tee shot on the 8th ended up a second successive double bogey.
I hit a good shot down the right side, and the wind just grabbed it and took it straight left in that bunker, and that's just where you can't hit it. Anytime you double holes in majors, you're giving up way too many. You know, you go double there, it's just a killer.
McDowell had parred the 5th, but having missed the green, Scott faced a test of nerve to match his playing partner. McDowell and Scott would bogey the 6th, but even so, Scott remained where he had been overnight, 4 shots clear, and the man to beat. McDowell badly needed to apply pressure, and did so on the 8th. Scott made only par, presenting the Ulsterman with a putt to close the gap. After a slow start, McDowell was finally building momentum. Els, however, was in danger of surrendering it.
The bogey on 9 was a very soft bogey. I mean, 9 is one of the easiest holes at Lytham. And I missed about an 8-footer there for par. I still felt I was in the game for some crazy reason. I just said, you know, I'm going to play this back 9 as aggressive and as hard as I can.
6 adrift of Scott, Els had slipped back to 3 under.
Shot. Although it was a shortish putt, those are the kinds of putts that I've been missing. So making the putt right in the middle with good speed gave me so much confidence.
Els parred the next before breathing even more life into his revival on the 12th.
It came up perfect. I mean, it came out on the breeze, up the bank. I mean, really close. It's one of those putts you should make in your sleep, but, you know, under open pressure is a little different story.
The story had taken a new twist. Els now trailed Scott by only 4. McDowell was 3 behind the leader until the 9th.
Pulled the wrong club, probably. You know, I hit 9-iron trying to hit a little baby cut 9-iron in there. You know, in hindsight, it was a wedge shot all day. I one-hopped it over the back and made bogey, and it was a real momentum stopper.
As McDowell digested his mistake, Scott was again in realistic birdie range. He didn't capitalize, but it appeared not to matter. The Australian remained 4 clear. McDowell's error on the 9th was compounded by another drop shot on the 10th.
Having come off bogeys on 9 and 10, just try to play the hole very aggressively. And for some reason, I just had bad pictures in my head at 11 all week. I had this phobia of this right-hand side of this fairway. I don't know why. You know, and all of a sudden at the last minute on that swing on 11 on Sunday, I just came straight over the top and just flat pull hooked it into the only few places in the golf course where the ball's going to be unfindable and unplayable. You know, my race was run, and all of a sudden, you know, there wasn't enough time left for me to try and get back in the game.
Scott was keeping the challengers at bay with a succession of pars.
And I was playing fairly conservative for most of the day Sunday and making sure I gave myself a couple putts at par, and par was never going to hurt me because no one was charging.
On the back 9, though, Tiger threatened to. After a birdie at the 10th, another followed at the short 12th. He was creeping closer to the lead. Woods again felt it was game on, and so did Els. But McDowell's hopes were fading. Scott, though, stayed very much in command of his own destiny. Royal Lytham's 14th hole can be a brute, but with the wind helping, Els gave himself a chance to move within 3 of the lead.
The putt on 14, that was a big putt, because it was another one just to keep a little momentum going. You could just feel the energy raising all the time, and people were out of the stands again. I just felt the energy of the whole place where I was at that time was just electrifying.
After par on the 15th, Ernie's choice of driver on the 16th looked to have backfired. Having ricocheted off a fence, he found the rough. His hopes of a much-needed birdie diminished. Back on the 14th, Scott was weighing up a putt that would see him improve to 10 under. Els chipped out, but he had to settle for a par, missing a clear opportunity to make up ground. Scott now had a putt to move 4 clear. His grip on the title had never seemed tighter.
There are moments in Open Championships which are key moments when you look back on them, and it's almost as if the gods have got involved. At that point, I think Scott, in his mind, said, OK, I'm Open champion.
Tiger was now out of the reckoning after making 3 consecutive bogeys from the 13th. His fall left Scott and Els in a 2-horse race. With a closing round of 69, world number 1 Luke Donald finished 2 under for the championship. Donald was on course for a top 5 result. So was Snedeker. Els continued to prove stubborn, but Scott was almost there. For him, pars were now priceless. But on the 15th, a 4 is never easy to achieve. Having found a greenside bunker, Scott chipped out, leaving himself an 8-foot putt for par.
At those moments where it's coming down to the wire and you've got the lead and you've got to close the tournament out, making a par putt like that, it's a huge momentum thing. It's almost like a birdie at that point.
I saw Scotty walking over to the 16th tee, and I saw he had his head down a little bit, so I realized that he must have bogeyed 15.
Even so, there was no cause for panic. Scott led by 3 and was safely on the 16th green for 2. On the 17th, Els putted for birdie. One hole back, Scott also putted for birdie.
Well, the first putt surprised me a bit that it kept breaking to the left at the end. I felt it was going to stay very straight or even go to the right as it got to the hole, but it was a bit short and just kept breaking left. I felt it was a left-centre putt with the wind blowing hard left to right, and I think I hit a fairly good putt, and it just spun out.
The moment he bogeyed the 16th was the point that I think everybody around thought, uh-oh, you know, this could happen.
Now only 2 shots adrift, Els had struck the ideal tee shot to attack the flag on the 18th.
I only had about 104 or 5 yards or something, but at that stage I had to give myself an opportunity to putt.
It was only once he'd hit the second shot. When we started walking up, I looked at the board and I said to him, Ernie, look at the board. And all of a sudden, Adam was going down 17 and he was only 18.
But if Ernie can birdie the 18th, that makes those last 2 holes play a little bit longer for Adam. And all of a sudden, they stretched for miles.
I will never ever forget that feeling when that putt went in. I think it was the loudest roar of my career. The ball just never left the hole.
I mean, the roar from the crowd was absolutely amazing. I mean, there's no feeling like that. And I just thought, well, you know, there's still a chance here that even in a playoff. One thinking that that was the putt that was going to win him the Open Championship.
Hearing the roar of Ernie, now it's fact I've got to make 2 fours to win the Open. I never really got super nervous. I felt I had everything under control. It was important to now play the last 2 very solid.
Adam probably made his biggest long game mistake of the day on 17. The second shot to that left pin. He just did what you can't do there. You can't miss that pin left. His long game had been totally in control, and when I saw that ball in the air, I thought, you know, the alarm bell started ringing in my head. You know, if Ernie just buried the last, I'm thinking, Adam's making bogey here, and the last is no gimme par, and it started to get kind of tough to watch at that point.
You know, that's the one I'd like to have over again out of them all, because my strategy for the hole was short and right, and I've hit the ball long and left. It wasn't the worst shot, it was a bad shot given the circumstances.
Even then, a par would have maintained his 1-shot lead. As Els saw a playoff looming, Scott had this to stay alone at the top. It never threatened.
Again, a little misread on that putt. It looked like it was coming down the hill to the right to me, but I think it was running so straight on the ridge, it just never moved right.
Scott and Els were now tied for the lead. On the last green, Snedeker had a putt to share third with playing partner Woods. The 36-hole leader had supplied much entertainment. But so had Tiger, who had occupied the top 3 in a major for the 24th time. Back on the 18th tee, Scott faced a club selection dilemma.
Lots of people said to me that they were surprised at Adam's club selection on 18. It's tough to know what to hit off that tee box. There's no way to take trouble completely out of play. When I saw him out with 3 wood, it's not like I'm standing there in the tee box going, you know, where's he going with this? He had swung it so well. It wasn't like our alarm bells were going off. I was like, well, he just needs to put a good swing on this. To me, it wasn't a wrong club.
Wrong club or not, Scott's ball came to rest in the worst place imaginable. Reaching the green was now out of the question.
And I was actually trying to call Liesl, my wife, and then the call came through and it was Johan Rupert. And he just said to me, no, he drove it into the bunker. Then I thought, ooh, this could be a real turnaround.
Yeah, at that point, it's you know what you have to do. You've just got to get it up and down. I was falling down dead in line with the pin. As it landed, it looked like it was getting the bounce up close, but maybe the wind was just hurting a touch and it landed quite soft. Still a really good shot under the circumstances, because at that point I've just got to give myself a chance to make a putt to make a playoff.
The crowd's reaction was appreciation mixed with sympathy. An hour before, Scott was set to lift the Claret Jug. Now, his fate hung on a single putt. Ernie wasn't looking. He only needed to listen.
I was either going to hear a Phil Mickelson roar of 2004 at the Masters, or we were going to hear the crowd, when he missed the putt.
I knew the situation. This is a putt to get in a playoff for the Open, probably the biggest putt of my career. It's a great moment, it's what you practice for, and the whole day I had such a calm feeling inside my body. It was strange, I was very confident with what I was doing and felt like things were falling into place, and that's how I felt over that putt.
Less than an inch, and with it, Adam Scott's dream of winning the 141st Open had gone.
I was disappointed, I could think clearly enough to understand what's happened over the last 4 holes. I let this tournament slip through my fingers, really. I try not to live life with regrets or golf with regrets, I wished I'd won the Open. I still can't even imagine what that feels like. But I believe more in my golf game than I ever did before.
It almost seems unfair. This is a player who had played really hard and played really, really well, and seemed as if his name was already on that Claret Jug. And I think the class of Adam Scott is the way he dealt with it afterwards. He didn't have to come into the press centre, but he did, and that's a measure of the man. That is a measure of the man.
Well, it was, a very sloppy finish by me. You got to play some good shots to win these golf tournaments, and I wasn't able to do that the last few holes. Sure, I'm very disappointed.
He will go away, he'll lick his wounds, and he's quite laid back, actually. And he'll probably go back home, get his surfboard out and go surfing.
I really do view the week as such a positive move for me. For so long, I never even contended in majors. In the last 2 years, I've really been a contender. So I'm going in the right direction, and this might be the one last piece of the puzzle for me to get what I really want out of the game.
He posted 3 outstanding rounds in the 60s, but a closing 75 wasn't good enough. Scott had been undone by 4 heartbreaking holes and a superb back 9 from a veteran without a major title for 10 years.
A lot of the press, a lot of the media, and a lot of the people out there were like, he's done, he's washed up. He doesn't have it. And he just proved a lot of people wrong.
Well, it means everything because of where we were. I was really gone, and through a lot of work and a lot of perseverance, if you want to call it that, and a lot of help from a lot of people around me, a lot can be achieved.
The winner of the gold medal and the champion golfer of the year is Ernie Els.
I first of all thought of Adam. I've been in that position. I've done exactly what he's done, and I know that feeling, and it's not a great feeling.
Well, first of all,
I feel for my buddy Adam Scott.
He was genuinely feeling for me, although he must have been really excited to win the Open.
Scotty, you're a great player, great friend of mine, and you're going to win many of these. You've got too much talent.
He was really kind in his words. It was nice of him to do that at that moment when it should just be elation for him, and I was the guy to kind of tone it down a little bit, I guess.
And then my other guy, my Ricky Roberts, is like a brother of mine, and without his help I could never have done this. I know he looks 60, but he's only 48.
Yeah, I thought it was a bit cheeky, that. I mean, he's not actually a spring chicken himself, is he? It's just huge for Ernie, absolutely huge. And from where he was to achieve that, it's just absolutely phenomenal. He's just given him such a belief that he can go on from here. He's so talented, so gifted. You know, I still think he could win another 2, 3, 4 majors. Proves to a lot of people that, not just in sport, but in life, just keep fighting, keep battling. You just never give in, because you never know what's around the corner.